This is Sam Ingles, editor-in-chief of Sound on Sound magazine, and he's using the Rycote mount incorrectly. Let's talk about it.
From the mind of Mark Yoshimoto Nemkov.
When you use your Rycote shock mount like this, it's far less effective than when you use it correctly, which is right side up. Now, these little suspension thingies around the side are called lyres, L-Y-R-E-S, and they are meant to do this when the microphone sits in there. The weight of the microphone plus gravity, right? These lyres are supposed to bend inward, right? Toward their curve, bend inward. And as you can see, they not only bend inward like this, right? But also inward like this. Now, the converse happens when we do this. Let me see if I can show you this correctly. Now, you see, I'm exerting a lot of force so you can really see. I'm exaggerating it. But see how they bend outward. Now, this is because there's a difference between compression, pressing down on it, and tension, hanging from it. Compression is a far more better way to dampen vibrations than tension. It's like a spring, really, okay? And the other thing that's involved here is that when you do this, right, compression of this entire lyre is making the area in which the vibratory energy, right, around the lyre, you're compressing that into a smaller area, right? So it's a denser area in which the compression dampening happens on the lyre, right? Than this, which widens the lyre. So it makes the vibration dampening area wider. When you make it smaller, you can induce heat, right? That's kind of part of it. It's part of friction and you induce heat. But that's okay. And Rycote obviously thought of that, which is why they call these lyres, the material they make these out of, thermoplastic. Because they are counting on this. They are counting on the slight bit of thermal energy that is created when this happens, right? They know that these can dissipate both that thermal energy and that vibratory energy. Let's go back to the analogy of a spring, right? When you compress a spring, as opposed to pulling on a spring. So if you were to take a spring and if you had a spring and you compress it like this, and you ping the side of it, right? The amount of oscillation, the amount of vibration, side-to-side movement of that spring, when you do that, is less. When you pull on the string, when you have tension on the spring, did I say string? On the spring, and you ping it, right? You get more oscillation because it's basically you get a longer amount of oscillation. I know there's a lot going on. It's a heady topic. So the longer the duration of your oscillation, the more vibration is going to ruin your contemplation. So what you want, of course, is less, shorter oscillations, more concentrated vibratory dampening area. And that combines together to be more effective. I know it sounds kind of convoluted, but this is Newtonian physics because this is easy, right? When you're doing this, right, you have actually both compression and tension because this hangs, right? See how the lyre is formed? It's hard to see so see how the U right here, where the inner ring joins, right? This here, right? So this is hanging from these 2 points. And that's pretty cool because what happens is you actually have compression and you have tension. And when you have both of these forces working against each other, because they are opposite forces. So with Newton's third law, for every action, there's an equal opposite reaction.
Like a mirror reflecting force in the opposite course, action reaction, it's a dance they do. Newton's law makes it true.
So when you have vibration that hits the outer ring, right, it comes up here, right? So you have this action and then you have a reaction, right? So you are working against here, which is being compressed, and then down here, which has tension. It's pretty brilliant, actually.
While under tension, the main cables push down on the supporting towers, placing them in compression.
So, the long and short of it is, right? When you have a traditional shock mount, let's just look at this real quick. So this is more of a traditional shock mount. When I say traditional shock mount, I mean something that's suspended by elastic. So when I put a mic in there, right, this is what happens. So it's tension, right? It's all tension. There's nothing pushing back on it. These here at the top, they're not doing anything, right? They're actually losing tension. If anything, they are less effective. They're just there to stabilize the mic from moving laterally, right? So when you do this, it's just tension. There's no compression. And that's why a lot of these suck compared to this, because you're using both and you're using them in a way that was engineered to really cancel out as much of that vibratory energy and heat as possible. So it's brilliant. So again, when you use your Rycote, when you invert your mic, it's best practice, even though Rycote will not tell you, do not use it like this, right? This is much more effective. And it's not just my opinion, it's science. So when you use your Rycote, right, they won't tell you, don't do it like that. The only thing that they will tell you is do not use your Rycote sideways, because when this happens, when it gets pulled down, can you see that? When this gets pulled down, right, the fear is that the weight of the mic, right, in the inner ring will be so much that it sags the lyre and you're actually touching the outer ring. The body may touch coming into contact with the outer ring. And that defeats the entire purpose of decoupling the outer ring where all of the vibratory energy, where all the vibrations will hit coming through your stand. So you don't want to make contact with the outer ring. So don't use it like this, and don't use it like this. It's an extremely effective shock mount. And again, another thing I like about it is that I will never have to replace these bands. You know, because this sucks. The worst thing about shock mounts is that every so often, like you'll get into a session and you never discover it until you're ready to use it. That's like your mic is like sagging, and you're like, oh, I need to get more of these hair tie bands. It's always a pain in the ass because they charge way too much for them, and you end up having to replace them every couple of years. But this is not an elastic band rant. This is a rant. This is a rant intended to inform that when you use your Rycote, use it with the lyres up, okay? Lyres up, not lyres down. Lyres up, and you'll get a better result. All right, Sam?
I would even go so far as to call it a studio hack, except then I'd have to kill myself.
You'll love it. These are amazing, and they're expensive, but you know what? You buy it once, and you probably won't have to buy other shock mounts again. I love these things. And, yeah, the Rycote. All right, what do you think? Are you using your Rycote upside down? Go find it and turn it around. Trust me. Don't trust me. Trust Sir Isaac Newton, because he knew what he was talking about. All right, until next time, this is Mark Yoshimoto Nemkov, using a correctly non-inverted Rycote, fading to black.
When your mic has got a rumble and you're trying hard to humble the vibrations coming up your stand, there's a fascinating way to save your recording day and make your whole life grand. The vibration is a physical force you have to fight with fire, so you have to turn up the Rycote lyre. Compression and tension, compression and tension, vibration cessation is quite a sensation. Tension keeps you hanging when your mic stands banging. It works, but not quite as well. But compression pushes back on your gravity attack and sends vibrations back to hell. When you're targeting vibrations in your sights, there's just one way to use your Rycote right. Compression and tension, compression and tension. diffusion, vibration, cessation. It's quite a sensation. Compression and tension, compression and tension. If I had to pick one, I'd pick the best one, and that's compression for me.